friends, and welcome back to my channel. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Amy. I'm just going to move that out of the way. And I like to review foundations. I have done a lot of foundation reviews on this channel. At the time of recording, I think there are 15 currently up and 3 to go up. Every single one of these foundations that I'm going to talk about today, I have done a review video of. So one of the pillars that I started my channel off was the fact that for me, particularly in recent years, I've really struggled to find foundations that suit me and my skin type. I have quite sensitive, very oily, very acne prone skin. And I struggle to find things that would last and would look good and have decent shade range, decent colour, and do what I wanted them to do, basically. Because the trends at the moment seem to be for this glowy, glossy, no makeup, which don't float my boat because I'm going to look like an all slick mess after 20 minutes. So, one of the pillars that I started my channel on was my Foundation Friday reviews. I think this year, I maybe have 20 foundations that I have reviewed, and I think I have them all here. Now, it's all very well and good flinging around first impressions on the internet, but that doesn't help anybody in terms of like longevity. I might like it the first day and then not like it after that. So I thought what I'll do, seeing as it's Christmas Day, and well, it's not Christmas Day when I'm filming this, but it's Christmas Day when you're watching this, I would give you guys a bonus video in terms of a roundup, my Foundation Friday yearly roundup, to see what products I have changed my mind about, what ones I've continued to use, and generally to give you a bit more of an in-depth overview. So, there's going to be a couple of awards here that I'm going to give out. So, it's going to be no surprise to anybody that the worst foundation of the year is the first foundation that I ever did a proper review video of on this channel. It is the Tarte Shape Tape Foundation. I despise this foundation, literally. I very rarely use the word hate or despise, but it applies to this. It is the worst foundation that I've ever put on my face. I am not the biggest fan of the delivery system. I don't really like putting big doe fits on. I don't particularly feel that it's really hygienic. The shade range was crap when it first came out. It's better now. It's really, really dry, but also really oily at the same time. It looks like I've got peeling sunburn. It didn't last. It separated and generally just looked a bit shit. So that was money well spent. So coveted award for worst foundation of the year will go to the Tarte Shape Tape Foundation. My best foundation of the year, hilariously, actually, is another one from Tarte. Yes, my best new discovery of the year, I would have to say, is another one from Tarte. It is the Tarte Found Sealer. I did a review video of this very recently, and frankly, I was bloody shocked at how amazing this is. Considering that they are from the same brand and they are packaged very similarly, except the fact that this has a twist-up pump, which does help. It's amazing how different these products are. This is creamy, long-wearing, great coverage. It sets really well but doesn't go completely matte, so it's going to be good for dry skin people as well. You can really sheer it out if you just want to have a little bit of coverage. There's so many shades of this. It's great. I've not heard anybody really talk about this online, and this is possibly one of my favourite top 5 foundations now of all time. So the fact that the same company can make 2 completely different foundations is ridiculous. Loved how well it's applied, loved how well this lasted. I have continued to go back to this since then for a couple of reasons. One, it doesn't really transfer under my mask. Once it sets, that's it. And second of all, because I've started trying to use up some more of my products, I've been tanning a lot more recently, and this shade does match my tan quite well. So that I would say is my new foundation best discovery of the year. The most surprising foundation of the year, because I wasn't expecting much from it, and it actually outperformed foundations that were 3 times the price, is the EX1 Invisiwear foundation. Now, I've had a lot of people talk about this like a couple of years ago, and obviously me being me is like 85,000 years too late to the hype. But I was expecting, from what I've heard about it, for it to last for about 20 seconds on my skin, then turn into an oil slick mess. And I was so surprised, like really impressed at the finish of it. It looked really skin-light, really natural, didn't budge, didn't move. It wore really well throughout the day, good range of shades, and particularly if you are quite a sallow skinned person like me, they do quite a lot of yellow shades. It's an issue I found generally with drugstore generally speaking, and it's just due to the way that they have to cater to the brands. Sorry, the way they have to cater to the market is that the majority of their paler shades do swing quite pink, which doesn't really suit well on my skin. But yeah, that's definitely my most surprising foundation of the year. This is one that I have, again, gone back to quite a few times. I have made a little bit of a dent in this, but I do have a lot of foundations I need to work my way through, and I'm doing Project Pan, so this might be in Project Pan for next year. A foundation that's surprised me for a different reason, not because of how it's performed, but of how often I keep reaching for it, is the Revolution Pro CC Perfecting Foundation. Now, as you can see, I've like flattened this quite a lot. It's very, very similar, and I'm going to be doing a review video in the new year of the IT Cosmetics CC Cream versus this one versus the Maybelline Dream Urban Cover, because I feel that they're all very, very similar products. This, just due to the nature of the product, I'm reaching for this like pretty much every day, same as my IT Cosmetics one. I find myself, if I'm going to work, even if I'm going to the shop, if I'm not basically filming, this is kind of what I'm wearing on a day-to-day. Literally smash it on with a beauty blender, put my brows on, a little bit of mascara, bronzer, and then bronzer in the crease, and that's me done. And then that'll last me all day. Like, honestly, I'm surprised at how much I've been using this. Shade range is really good. Pump's a bit temperamental, which is something I didn't point out in my previous in my foundation review of it. But yeah, it's just a really, really solid kind of drugstore, like everyday CC cream, so I'll definitely check that out. My favourite drugstore discovery of the year is the L'Oreal Infallible 24-Hour Matte Cover. This is a beautiful foundation with formulas very similar to products that literally cost 4 times the price. So this is quite a matte, thick, well, not thick, it's a thick liquid. It's on the thicker side of some of the textures that I have trialed this year, and it glosses over any texture that you've got at all. It lasts for absolutely ages. Shade range is really, really good as per usual. It's got one of the best delivery systems, squeezy nozzle, which means that you can get every single last drop of foundation out of it, and it's more readily available at a more accessible price point to most people. I would say for me, this is very, very, very comparable to the Found Sealer. I think this one has a slightly more skin-like finish, but in terms of like performance, I would say these are definitely very, very similar, which is why I would say this is my favourite foundation discovery of the year, but more on the high-end side. Favourite foundation discovery on the high street side. And then a product that has disappointed me a little bit, just because after my first impression, I kind of gave it a lot of bygones, shall we say. I had been walking through a rainy beach, I've been in a hot tub, I've been travelling, so I gave it a lot of kind of slack in terms of its performance, and I've tried it since then, and I'm not that enamoured with it, and it is the Maybelline Dream Urban Cover Foundation. I think I got a shade that was a little bit too dark, which doesn't help everything, but for me, it's got a slightly thinner texture. It just doesn't sit as well on my skin as the IT Cosmetics and the Revolution Pro CC Cream. For me, I find that it kind of breaks up a little bit easier. It doesn't sit as well under my mask. It gets oilier a little bit quicker. It's not my favourite foundation. As a result, I haven't really gone back to this and used it really at all since my first impressions. I think I've used it maybe twice. It's definitely something that I am going to continue to use and finish because it's not a bad foundation, it's just not as good as other comparable products. And then the Old Faithful Award, the Staple in My Makeup Bag Award, is actually going to 2 foundations this year because I cannot pick between them. It is the Smashbox Studio Skin Hydrating Foundation and the MAC Studio Fix Foundation. I absolutely adore both of these. I would say this is more of an everyday foundation for me. It's a little bit lighter, a little bit less coverage, a little bit more hydrating, a little bit easier to apply. MAC is my kind of night out glam filming foundation. If, frankly, and I hate to think about this, if I lost every single foundation that I owned, these would be the first 2 that I would go and repurchase without even batting an eyelid. They just cover really all my bases for me, and I could very, very easily go through the rest of my life just having these 2 foundations. So I did review videos of both of these products. I have used and loved them for years, so they are definitely top picks from me. And the rest of the foundations that I reviewed, I don't really have anything specific to say about them. They're just a bit they're not a bit meh, they're all nice, they all do the same job really. So I mean, we've got Rimmel Lasting Finish, which is part of my project pan. I am very nearly finished this. I don't think it's going to be something that I repurchase when I do finish it. I like it, but in terms of like drugstore foundations, I much prefer Revlon Color Stay, and I prefer the L'Oreal Infallible Matte version. I prefer the CC creams that I've got from Revolution. I think it's just a foundation that I've had for a while, and the formula I'm not really that enamoured with. We then have the foundation that I'm actually reviewing right now, which is the Rimmel Lasting Matte Foundation. Very similar to a foundation that I'll be doing a review of come the new year, which is L'Oreal Infallible Total Cover. I'm not enamoured with the texture of this. I like the delivery system. Again, it's a squeezy tube. It is looking really good on my skin, but I feel like I have a lot of product on my skin. It's a very thick, moussey formula. So I think this is going to be better suited for me. I think it just be the time of year that I am trialling this. I'm trialling it obviously in winter when my skin is drier, and I think for me this will sit better on my skin in summer as well for the shade that I've got. I did get quite a deep shade for me at least. I mean, I know I look still really pale on camera, but that's because I am really pale. I then have another pair of foundations, which is the Estee Lauder Double Wear Light and Double Wear Maximum Cover. I love both of these foundations. Like, I think they're absolutely brilliant. They last on my skin really well. Of course they do, they're from the Double Wear range. They last like nothing else. The coverage is really good in this one, slightly lighter in this one. For the formula, like the formulas are really good. For me, it's just not something that I reach for on a day-to-day, for a couple of reasons. One being the price. I think they're like 34 quid each, and if I'm going for an everyday foundation, I would pick this. I would pick the light over the maximum cover, but I have other foundations that I would prefer to use up more quickly and repurchase versus using these all the time. It's got this Double Wear Light, it's got a very similar finish to like the It Cosmetics CC Cream, that kind of lighter everyday kind of coverage. I do like both of them, but as well I think the shades that I have in these are not quite right for me. So I have the Double Wear Maximum Cover in actually the paler shade, which is 1N1 Ivory Nude, and then I have the Double Wear Light in the second darkest shade, which, not second darkest, second lightest shade, which is 1N2, and I think these are a little bit light for me, even if I'm not tanned. So these are things that I'm going to have to mix with other foundations. At the moment it's just a bit more of a faff for me to be mixing foundations, so I'm not really going to be doing that at this point, am I? Another foundation that I didn't really like is the Revolution Conceal and Define Full Coverage Foundation. I do prefer this to its Tarte predecessor. These are basically nigh on identical, absolutely identical. I do prefer this one though for two reasons. One, because of the price, and two, because of the shade range. They both look absolutely horrendous on my skin. They both are a bit crap, to be honest. I don't really like them. I don't know what the hype is about, and I don't really understand why people use them, but hey ho, just my opinion. As with everything else that's in this video, it's just my opinion. So if I'm saying that I don't like something and you love it, great. I'm so glad that you found products that have like worked for you and that you like enjoy and you use and you want to spend your money on them. That's great. Just because, and again, if I like something and you think it's crap, doesn't mean that either of us are wrong or right. It's so subjective, makeup. So just because we have different opinions doesn't mean that anybody's wrong or that I'm trying to bash anybody or anything like that. And finally, we have the last two foundations that I have reviewed. This is the Too Faced Born This Way Matte foundation. Great foundation, love it. Don't find myself reaching for it because I have either foundations that I prefer at this price point or foundations that are cheaper and I would rather use up first. So this is something that I think I will use once I have gotten through the majority of my other products. Then we have the It Cosmetics CC Cream, an absolute staple in my makeup bag. Like, I'm never going to not have this or something like its equivalent. I may have found equivalents at a cheaper price point, so therefore I may not need to repurchase a £36 CC cream, which is probably going to be quite good for my bank balance. But I would absolutely wholeheartedly recommend this, particularly the oil-free matte version, to basically anybody. It still has a really lovely glossy finish. It's got great coverage, really good longevity, and the SPF 50 is definitely a bonus. But like a proper mixed bag in here between like drugstore and high-end. Overall, looking at the products that I have in front of me, if we consider drugstore prices versus high-end prices, I would say this year the drugstore or the high street has absolutely walloped high-end. Like, it is I've only had one foundation from the drugstore that I've not been enamored with, and it's the same kind of formula as the one from high-end, but I prefer that formulation. So I would definitely say the drugstore has won this year in terms of kind of the best foundations of the year. I have really enjoyed making these videos. I have got loads more foundation, I say loads more, but like a few more foundations that I still need to test for you guys. But if you guys have any foundations that you want me to try, put them in a comment down below so I can go and buy them inevitably and spend even more of my money that I definitely don't need to spend. I think for next year I am going to be doing an updated kind of project plan, particularly with my foundations. So I've got a few foundations that I've either had for quite a while or I've started and not finished, so I will definitely be trying to work my way through some of those in a sort of project pan style kind of thing, which will probably be a series that I do next year, particularly like the lasting finish, Estee Lauder Double Wear Light, a few of the CC creams, and then I've got round here I've got like an IT Cosmetics thing that's about to go as well. So for me next year 2021, in terms of my buying habits and in terms of like my sustainability, I am going to making a real conscious effort for next year to not purchase anything that I definitely don't need, because I have, like, don't get me wrong, I'm not like a proper beauty guru, I've got only double-digit subscribers. I'm doing this because I enjoy it and I like to kind of help people in terms of like their buying decisions and making sure they get good value for money. But for me, I have more makeup now than I'm ever gonna use before all of this goes off, frankly. I think if I were to wear foundation every single day, and I do mean every single day for the rest of my life, I think it would take me probably 3 years to get through all this foundation that I have here. So next year is going to be the year of buying less, shopping my stash more, making sure that I'm using products and not buying things unnecessarily. I did start a project plan. I'm not sure how successful I'm going to be with that. That may have to continue into next year. To be fair, this year wasn't exactly the best year to be doing a project plan because nobody's going out and doing stuff or being allowed to wear anything or whatever. But yeah, so you'll be seeing a lot less hauls from me next year, probably a lot less foundation reviews next year, purely because I'm going to be making a conscious effort to be buying less. You will be seeing more empties videos, you will be seeing more kind of let's try this again videos where I come back to products and see whether I hate them, like them, how my things have changed. And I think as well I'm going to be trying to do a slightly more in-depth version of my review videos, where I basically, instead of just doing a first impressions first day wear test, I actually wear the foundation and trial the foundation for a full week and see how I get on with it. Different application methods, different primers, different days, how does it last doing X, Y and Z, to give obviously you guys a more in-depth analysis of how this foundation has held up on my skin. So yeah, that's what you can expect from my foundation videos for kind of the next year, and just from this channel in general actually for the next year. I'm hoping to be moving next year, hoping to be moving with my friend Angela, so the more stuff that I can get rid of and the less crap that I have to move is always going to be better in my book. So yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed this Foundation Friday roundup of 2020. If you have, hit the subscribe button down below. Don't forget to turn the notification bell so you don't miss any of my future uploads, and give this video a big thumbs up so more people can find it. Yeah, lots of exciting things coming in the next year, hopefully. Hopefully this channel can continue to grow and you guys are still enjoying my content. And other than that, I'll see you next time, guys. Bye.